Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize for the late start. There was some stuff that I was finishing up, and I wanted to make sure that I was able to present a quality video for you guys. So, as all of you know by now, I'm sure, a lot of information has started to come out about this so-called, at least the alleged shooter in this failed attempt on President Trump's life. So what do we know? We're gonna dig into a few things that I found interesting. If nothing else, at least plausible. We're gonna cover the stuff that we're being told, and we're gonna kind of see what pops off. First of all, so I don't know if you guys heard this yet, but apparently they were having a lot of trouble accessing this guy's phone. Matthew Crook, I think his name is. So we'll get to the confusion about the actual individual here shortly, but Thomas Matthew Crook is now the individual that we're being told was responsible for the death of one person, injury of at least two other ones, including President Trump. What do you guys think about his VP pick, JD Vance? I'm a little torn. He's not who I would have chosen, but I'm not the president, so I'm not running for president. At least not this year. No, I'm just kidding. There are some very interesting connections there, which we'll get into in another video. But for now, let's dig into this thing. First of all, I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening. And I'm going to show you guys what we got here. This is from The Record. And it says, Feds break into suspected Trump shooter's phone. The FBI says it has cracked into the phone belonging to the suspected shooter in the assassination attempt against President Trump. FBI technical specialists successfully gained access to Thomas Matthew Crook's phone, and they continue to analyze his electronic devices. The Bureau said in a statement posted Monday afternoon. Now, the last I had heard, they were having a lot of trouble getting in, but all of a sudden now they can get in. The Bureau did not specify the brand of the phone, how it was locked, or how they broke into it. Officials had told reporters Sunday that Crook's phone had been shipped to the Bureau's lab in Quantico. As tech news site 404 Media noted Monday, U.S. law enforcement agencies have access to technology that can break into password-protected iPhones. Those capabilities became more widespread after Apple refused to help unlock the phone of the gunman in the 2015 San Bernardino, California mass shooting. Crooks, a 20-year-old resident of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, was shot and killed by Secret Service agents on a rooftop hundreds of feet away from Trump as the former president spoke Saturday at a campaign rally in nearby Butler County. The FBI said it had not identified a motive in the shooting in which a bullet clipped Trump's ear. One person was killed. And two others were seriously wounded. Okay, so total of 3 injured, 1 dead. The investigation is, quote, still in the early stages, the Bureau said Monday, but it is still being considered as potential domestic terrorism. The Bureau said it completed a search of Crook's residence and vehicle and has, quote, conducted nearly 100 interviews of law enforcement personnel, event attendees, and other witnesses. Hundreds of digital media tips, which include photos and videos taken at the scene. Now, speaking of photos and videos taken at the scene, what did we learn? Well, we learned a whole lot. As a matter of fact, well, first of all, okay, one of the conspiracy theories that's going around on the left is that this whole thing was staged, that there's a blood pack, and he wasn't actually injured, which is just dumb. But here we go. This is Green Eggs and Sam on X at Ham Eggs in Sam. It says, here's another interesting one from the Trump assassination attempt. I listened to a couple conspiracy theories at Tim Truth 123 and others. I haven't seen anything by him. I looked at his page, but I didn't see anything direct suggesting this was fake. He had a blood pack. There was no blood on his hands, etc. This is not supported by the photos. You can see the bullet. There's an iconic picture out there that shows the trajectory of the bullet coming from this side. It passed behind him, and you got the actual bullet in the air on this side. Came right through his ear. You can see the bullet. You can see his hand has no blood pack. You can see blood on his hand coming away from his ear. As I stated in my show, which I haven't seen, this is a real attempt likely facilitated by the deep state, and Trump is lucky to be alive. So as you can see here, here's the iconic photo. Right here, he grabs his ear and pulls away his hand, at which point you see the blood on the hand. And then people go back and forth as to whether or not this says we must believe every photo and video that is shown to us because no one in government would ever think about lying to the American people. And Green replies, no, we should evaluate evidence looking for corroborations with other related events. We should also look for potential falsifications because the evidence doesn't fit. For example, your post implying the government is lying is not evaluating evidence, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so we got the phone, right? But let me show you. This is a very, very fascinating. Well, first of all, we've got multiple eyewitnesses who claim that this guy was not the only shooter. What? That's never happened before. Video number 1. Lady saw the counter sniper firing down towards the water tower. Video 2. The sharpshooter shot and killed the gentleman in the water tower. They got the shooter on the water tower, but wasn't able to immediately get the shooter on the roof, which is why they wanted them to leave immediately. Video number 3. Lady says her kid and daughter-in-law were on the other side of the fence behind them, and she said there was one shooter by the fence, assuming building, and another, the water tower. There's other videos. All right, we're going to take a look at these. As always, you can make up your own mind. I never tell people what to think. Here we go.
First crack of the gunfire, and I just screamed, it's the sniper, and he was firing down toward the water tower.
That's what we're hearing.
And yeah, and then at that same exact moment, there was a spray from the right side of the stage that I thought was some type of gas, like, or not gas, but smoke. To blind, blind up front. And he said it was, he heard it was gunfire, hydraulic on one track. So the gunfire was coming toward the stage.
Wow.
And then a few minutes later, there was a couple more shots down the hill, and that's when they started flooding and pushing everybody out.
Okay, so that's from the New York Post, and the account, by the way, at MJ Truth Ultra. Video 2.
And then he put the fist bump up, stay strong, and they walked him off.
Aaron, what was going through your mind? What did you think when you first heard those sounds?
I thought what you just said. I thought it was fireworks. 4th of July. It's been pop, pop, pop. That's what it sounded like. The gentleman behind me, I was one seat. He was to the right of me. He could see the sharpshooter behind Trump. He said the sharpshooter shot to the left. He killed the gentleman in the water tower here. Now, when I called my husband at home, who's watching TV, he said, I thought Trump hurt his ear when he went to the ground. But he said, no, on TV they showed before Trump hit the ground, the ear was bleeding. So that sharpshooter went across. Trump turned his head. His ear must have been nipped, and it killed somebody in the stands over to the left.
Could you see anyone injured?
Okay. Video 3.
And so we started trying to go after them then when they finally let us up. And they had been right by the fence where the other shooter was. There was one I heard in the water tower. There was one by the fence.
And still, obviously, initial reports. But what we do.
Okay, so that's at least 2. Water tower here. Trump there. There's that roof right there. So multiple potential people. So this is again at MJ Truth Ultra, and the reply says, here's my theory for what it's worth. The guy on that roof shed was the scapegoat Patsy. The one on the water tower is the one who tried to actually take Trump out and was allowed to get away. Reminds me of a Lee Harvey Oswald situation. MJ Truth Ultra, that is a very plausible take. I agree. It also makes more sense for the gentleman that was shot in the head for the angle. I kept wondering how he got shot in the head based on the angle of the roof. It didn't make sense, but there's a very good chance from the water tower that he moved into the path. Okay, so we don't know anything about an individual on the water tower, at least according to mainstream news, right? Got a little more for you here. This is Bullseye at UTISM_. It's a very, very interesting set of information here. It says Maxwell Yurick, which is the individual that I thought it was. That was the initial reports, right? Matthew Yurick was most likely a psyop to keep you, quote, looking here, not there, while they scrubbed the internet of Thomas Matthew Crooks and kept you from looking into AGR. What is AGR? We'll find out shortly. First, it was a Chinese suspect. Then it was Antifa. Then it was an Italian YouTuber. Then there's two shooters. Then there's one shooter in the stands. Then there's one shooter on the roof. Then it was something else. Blah, blah, bread and circuses. I agree. I dug for anything Thomas Crooks related for hours last night, as did I. It's all gone. There's nothing on the internet about a 20-year-old, and it gets better. Nothing on him, his parents, his sister, nothing. And I'm pretty good. I am here to tell you that whether you agree with his stances or not, Bullseye's information is solid. Always brings receipts. Always. So when he says, and I'm pretty good, he's being very, very modest. He's phenomenal. So what does that say? Let me break it down for you. Thomas Matthew Crooks, unique ear shape. This is key. I agree. No arm tattoos, brown eyes, shirt, which we'll talk about the shirt for a moment. You know who I really feel bad for? Demolition Ranch. The shooter had a Demolition Ranch shirt on. Now, I don't have merch per se. My buddy keeps trying to talk me into making some. I didn't even shave today. That's I was just busy doing stuff, but I don't have merch. But if I did, and something like this happened, it would really, it would shatter my world. If you guys have not seen Demolition Ranch's video that he did addressing this situation, it was exceptionally good. He did a phenomenal job. But let's get back to this. So, shirt matched multiple sources. That's the shirt you're talking about. Now, you may or may not have seen this. Featured in BlackRock video. It was an ad for BlackRock, which they did confirm with a statement, released and have now pulled from the internet. That's right. They deleted the video that had this individual in it. Now, why would this guy be in a BlackRock commercial? And is there more connecting him to BlackRock? Well, kind of. Found dead on top of sketchy American Glass Research AGR International building, which became part of Indicor Industrial Solutions, all tied to BlackRock. BlackRock invests in Indicor, who owns AGR, which is the building the shooter was on. The shooter appears in video for BlackRock. Full circle. 22 Bethel Park High School grad video matches footage and images of suspect from the day of the shooting. Student testimony that he suspect was bullied. Parents are both social workers. SSRIs, Maybe. Glasses. And yes, they were on him when he was shooting. I have multiple angles where they are visible. I doubt they would stay on his face after a headshot with a large caliber round. True. Now, let's talk about Maxwell Gehrig. He has a normal ear shape, right arm tattoos, which were featured on his Tumblr 7 years ago, which I saw with my own eyes and screenshotted. It's now been scrubbed, but source still included in the comments. Like I said, he brings the receipts. Blue eyes, Antifa, long criminal history, perfect patsy to distract. Large plugs in ears. I saw the argument that the dead shooter had a scar on his ear. Here's my thoughts on that. It could have been anything. Dirt, roof was filthy, and he was crawling. Blood, there's no reason they would sew up gauged ears that way unless someone had a severe blowout. If you guys don't know, gauged ears are where they, pierce it, but then they start putting bigger and bigger and bigger circles in it. I don't know. It's not my thing, but whatever. A blowout is like a tear when you stretch your ears too big, too quickly, and the lobe rips. Rarely completely, though. Rarely completely through. I've had many friends who made that poor life decision, and I myself once had gauged ears, Bullseye says. Not me. Yeah. When they are sewn closed, it is typically done in a triangular fashion towards the center of the piercing. Scars are often insignificant once healed and just look like normal pierced ears. And this is his theory. I think they didn't want you looking into Thomas or AGR before they could wipe the internet of any traces. And I think in the scheme of things, that doesn't effing matter. While you're distracted with this horse shit, Israel is bombing God knows what with your tax dollars. We have another wall-kissing VP married to a lady named Usha Chilakuri. I'm betting he won't be too concerned with our borders. What do you guys think? You think Vance is going to be worried about the border? And I think you should question whoever started the Maxwell story, because as far as I can tell, it's bunk. As usual, I think the powers that be just want you confused, not knowing up from down while they carry on with their agenda. Regardless, based on the research I have done, I think Maxwell Gehrig is a gargantuan waste of everyone's time and doesn't fit the bill at all. I'm not saying Trump wasn't shot at. That's not what I think. I don't have any crazy theories other than intentional or unintentional incompetence or miscommunication regarding security. What I'm saying is they thrive off the chaos and will use you being distracted and confused to continue having their way with this country. Not wrong on that count, that's for sure. Shout out Cubaka for the research help. More tidbits in the comments. Now, let's take a look here. All right, so on the left here, this is Gehrig, right? Blue eyes. Normal shaped ears. He's got tattoos, got large plugs, right? If the plugs are sewn up, then it tends to look rather normal. Glasses, the same shirt, which is Demolition Ranch. Poor bastard. I do feel for the guy from Demolition Ranch, not this guy. Brown eyes, filthy roof, ear shape matches. If you notice the ear shape, it's hard to see here, but if you get the opportunity to zoom in, it is the exact same ear shape. Match right here. You can see it. No tattoos on the arm. Glasses. Now, there's more. Here's the sources from Maxwell. Posted the wrong link for his Tumblr. That's his new Tumblr. Here's the archive pictures. Right there are the tats. Now, let's talk about AGR International. AGR International becomes part of Indicor Industrial Solutions Company. I'm going to have to look over here. So I'm going to move myself right over here. So at least I'm looking the right way. AGR International becomes part of Indicor Industrial Solutions Company. AGR was recently acquired by Indicor, a diversified industrial solutions company. As a world-class innovative supplier of quality assurance and process automation equipment to the global packaging markets, AGR fits nicely into the values and focus of Indicor. As noted by Doug Wright, CEO of Indicor, AGR is a, quote, terrific business with clear niche market leadership, mission critical solutions, deep customer intimacy, blah, 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 blah. Schedule of investments. This is for BlackRock. Up here, Indicor. What's the value? $16.9 million. So right at $17 million. Another Indicor for $2.3 million. That's interesting. BlackRock Yanks 2022 ad featuring Thomas Matthew Crooks. Here's the ad I was talking about. They pulled it off the internet. I wonder why. Patrick, I'm not sure what those letters mean, but PsyOp at PsyOp4921 says they wiped both of their social medias. Happens every time. You guys remember, we've seen this type of mix-up before, right? In El Paso. Look at, oh my, Patrick Crucius, which one is it? Oh, look. That sure looks familiar. Bullseye says, and this I wholeheartedly agree with, the news was some of the worst I have ever seen surrounding a major event. There's no way it wasn't intentional. I mean, reporters were literally reaching out to whoever this guy is, which is so laughable it hurts. Major MSM sources were running with photos of this person, a Twitter user that literally told everyone he was trolling. Kosherwitz, nice name, says some might even say every single time. Now, this individual says something interesting. To answer the reason why the scars, it was a requirement to serve in Ukraine on their side, which he did until he died. Until someone shows a pic of Crooks with a beard, I am on the side of it being Uric and Crooks is the distraction because known Antifa makes FBI look bad. Bullseye, LOL, okay. But I don't know, man. I would say based on the ear alone, if you look at the shape of the ear, it looks nothing like this guy. It looks exactly like this guy. I'm just saying. Now, one more thing that I do. So Sam Parker Eucus Gage at Sam Parker Senate. Apparently this guy ran for Senate in Utah. He says some interesting things that I want to run by you guys. The media wants you obsessing about the shooter. Don't fall for it. Why not? He says, bookmark this. The media will obsess over the shooter, who he is, what his party affiliation was. They did do that, didn't they? Why he did it, etc. And I want to let's discuss this whole registered Republican thing for just a moment. So the media has made a big deal about the fact that the alleged shooter is a registered Republican who happened to donate once to a Democrat cause. Number one, anybody can be a registered Republican. All you have to do is vote in a primary in a state that has an open primary. Indiana, even if you voted Democrat your entire life, you can walk into a primary election and request a Republican ballot. That's not how it's supposed to be, but that's the way that it is. So this whole registered Republican thing doesn't mean anything. There is no strict requirement or anything to prevent anyone from saying, oh yeah, I'm a Republican. So that's ridiculous. Continues on, but he's the least important link in the chain. The conspirators will have made sure he's a dead end, or at least ambiguous enough to cause confusion and waste resources, including your attention. Maybe. The media is the conspirators' friend, not yours. Have you learned nothing over the last 8 years? That I agree with wholeheartedly. The media is not your friend. While the media is flooding the zone with stories on the shooter and other meaningless drivel, this is the gigantic angle they're leaving out. Now, this gets kind of spicy, but let's see. The downsides for the conspirators if Trump wins the election. Many of you, I get the hiccups. Many of you think in absolutes when it comes to Trump and Zionism, thinking that any support for Zionism means complete support for Zionism. This is, of course, what the Zionist generals want. However, it's not reality. The reality is that support for Israel is on a continuum. However, your totally understandable hatred of Trump over his Israel support can cloud your vision of the situation if you let it. Okay. Let's see what he's trying to say. Trump is a Zionist. Yes. Trump has supported Israel. Yes. Trump has done much of their bidding. He moved the embassy. He approved the annexation of the Golan Heights. He visited the wall, supported partial annexations in the West Bank. Trump has taken their money. All true. But Trump has also signaled two very critical areas of non-complete support for Israel and the deep state neocon allies. These are two legs of the international the Zionist mafia built on world financial conquest. These two things are his red lines, and this is where his cooperation with Zionism ends. One, he doesn't support ongoing NATO neocon war with Russia and has signaled willingness to make a deal with Putin. Yes, he has. He has said on multiple occasions that he will end this war in Ukraine before he even takes office. What do you guys think? Do you think he has the power to do that? I do. He doesn't support escalating the Gaza conflict into war with Lebanon and Iran, and has signaled that while he broadly supports Israel, he doesn't necessarily support Netanyahu. Israel and NATO are connected. Broader NATO war with Russia plus war with Lebanon, Iran equals World War III. I agree with that. Consequences. World War III weakens the world powers, US, Europe, Russia, China, while granting more land to the Greater Israel Project and helps Israel bury the evidence of genocide in Gaza. That's feasible. Moreover, Russia being busy at war with Ukraine makes it harder for it to backstop Iran in a war with Israel. That's true. If Israel and Iran went to war, Iran would likely want to rely on Russia. Russia's a little busy right now. Meanwhile, the world Judeo-Zio mafia financial empire would swoop in everywhere after this war to buy up assets cheap, just as it did after the fall of the USSR. In other words, Israel wins World War III while Gaza and the rest of the world lose. The worldwide Israel Judeo-Zio mafia, it's a lot of words, Zionists, man, just say Zionists, would consolidate its newfound increased power in Israel. Donald Trump stands directly in the way of this, but you won't see it if you let your Trump hate blind you. Other leaders who stood in the way of this, now this is where it gets super interesting, like Robert Fico of Slovakia and Marine Le Pen of France, were also taken out. Receipts down below. Quick summary. No World War III, no war with Iran, no more war with Russia, possible neutralization of the neocons who hate Trump. No massive expansion of the Zionist empire. Israel war over Gaza ends. Bibi gets investigated. Israelis remove Bibi, which if you guys aren't paying attention over there, they are rioting in the streets demanding he step down at minimum, but they are also wanting him prosecuted. Maybe Bibi goes to prison. World leaders and journalists go into Israel and investigate/discover the magnitude of the Gaza genocide, currently estimated by Lancet at 186,000 civilian casualties, which could threaten to end the Zionist terror project. No third temple, no seat for the Zionist empire. The end of neocons and the end of Israel would be nearly catastrophic to the deep state in the United States as well, which is basically a coalition of Israel first, Jewish individuals, open society communists, Jewish financial interests, BlackRock, which we just talked about, and other non-Jewish Israel firsters, warmongering neocons, deep state enablers like Lindsey Graham, Nikki Haley, and the infiltrated intelligence agencies, which we've all seen, right? We've seen these intelligence agencies, FBI, CIA, they're all corrupt. They're all compromised. In other words, if Donald Trump is successfully elected and pursues his preferred policies, we might get a little world peace and Gaza might get a little justice. At least there's the possibility. Trump doesn't support Netanyahu. Again, don't confuse support for Israel with support for Netanyahu. Netanyahu is an important nexus for the conspirators, as we'll see later in this thread. Now, this is let's see, this isn't the one. Hold on. Netanyahu and new NATO head Mark Rutte have forged an Israel-NATO coalition. What does NATO have to do with the Middle East and Israel? That's a damn good question, isn't it? This is the tell. Ukraine, Russia, and Israel, Iran are now connected. NATO will support Israel, and Israel will support NATO. That means Israel's deep state resources will be at NATO's disposal, and vice versa. Oh, that's interesting. Look at that. To become NATO chief, Mark Rutte denied Israeli war crimes. Benjamin Netanyahu, our friend Mark Rutte, congratulations on assuming your new position as NATO Secretary General. I am confident that you will work to advance the security of the entire democratic world and to further strengthen the relations between NATO and Israel. Neocons want/need Trump gone. Yes, they do. Robert Kagan, who wrote this op-ed, watch this, calling for the illegal end to Donald Trump, is married to Victoria Nuland, one of the chief neocon architects of the Ukraine war. He's also good friends, by the way, with Benjamin Netanyahu. Quote from this op-ed: "A Trump dictatorship is increasingly inevitable. We should stop pretending. With each passing day, it will become harder and more dangerous to stop it by any means, legal or illegal." There's the picture from the op-ed itself, because that's not at all disturbing, right? I look at that and I'm like, ugh. They've been working to take out other world leaders who wanted to pull out of Ukraine-Russia conflict. Robert Fico of Slovakia wanted to end it, and they tried to kill him. Marine Le Pen wanted to withdraw French support from the Ukraine war and make a deal. So what did they do? They formed a coalition of leftists and centrists to take her out, and are now conducting lawfare against her for, quote, illegal financing. Sound familiar? Donald Trump is getting both the Fico and Le Pen treatment. Here's some screenshots we can look at. Slovakia's Fico will not support more military aid to Ukraine. Marine Le Pen vows to curb France's support for Ukraine. French left and centrists pull candidates from runoff vote and attempt to block far right. French prosecutors investigate alleged illegal financing by Marine Le Pen and far-right National Rally Party. The timing of this assassination attempt is critical too. Timing is everything? We've heard this over and over, right? If this had been merely a leftist plot, then they would have waited until after the convention. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? They tried to take Trump out before the convention. That certainly would be convenient for those who don't want Trump to be president, wouldn't it? Because then they have the opportunity to install someone else. Probably Nikki Haley. And here's a thread. I think that probably the allegations, blah, blah, blah. But this is interesting. The head of the Secret Service, Kim Cheadle, is a Dick Cheney neocon. You remember Dick Cheney, right? This possibly connects her to 9/11 and also Robert Kagan, who wrote the op-ed above with the icky picture. Robert Kagan was the founder of Project for a New American Century, a think tank, neocon think tank, that advocated for war in Iraq and intervention in the Middle East on behalf of Israel. The pieces just keep fitting together. Interesting. The majority of the agents in Butler yesterday were from Homeland Security. Homeland Security, by the way, is run by none other than Alejandro Mayorkas, the very individual that the GOP-led House is trying to impeach. Very few actual Secret Service agents. A lot of them were temporary Homeland Security agents. Yeah, this picture really says it all, unfortunately. So, let's see here. I think, oh, and if you guys haven't seen this, I want to show you this. This anime from Japan is incredible. It's in Japanese. I haven't seen any with an English subtitle yet, but nonetheless, check it out. That's really loud. Hold on. Sorry about that. There we go. YMCA. Is that amazing or what? Oh my God. Like what? Oh my goodness. So let's see here. Okay. Yeah, that's it for the links, but I have found a lot of very interesting information about this in general. And we're just getting started. As you guys know, Trump picked JD Vance. Curious what you guys think about that. But one thing that I did see that I found very interesting is supposedly JD Vance is talking already about war with Iran and how basically if they do something, we're going to, bomb them into oblivion or whatever. I'm not entirely sure. I saw the clip, but I don't remember the exact verbiage of it right now. That's not what we need, guys. We don't need a warmonger as VP. I hope that it was just a small clip from a larger one that's missing context. As we know, the media is often want to do. But nonetheless, I am really hoping that something else is going on here other than what appears to be insofar as a VP. Oh, and Robert. So I guess RFK Jr. and Trump talked on the phone, something about childhood vaccines. And RFK tweeted or said, "Oh, I'm sorry that we recorded Trump. I should have told my videographer not to record, but I just wasn't thinking of it." And somehow the conversation leaked. I have not listened to the conversation. It's really not that high on my list of priorities of something that I want to dig into. But I do find it interesting that RFK claims there was this, oops moment. And more importantly, that he is not the savior that people think he is, in my opinion. I'm talking about RFK Jr. There's some very, very concerning things going on around. Apparently there's a picture of him eating a dog from New York Post. Let me see if I can find it. Yep, here it is. Okay. Let me show you guys because this is just weird. I saw this. I'm like, what? Unsettling photo appears. Oh, go away. Oh my goodness, go away. This is why people use ad blockers, by the way. Unsettling photo appears to show RFK Jr. with barbecued carcass of a woof. Texted photos of nude women. Yeah, so newly unearthed photo shows RFK Jr. posing with a barbecued carcass of an animal. And while a veterinarian reportedly said it was a dog, the independent presidential candidate insists that's not what it is. He texted the shocking photo of himself and an unidentified woman posing with the charred four-legged animal to a friend last year, according to a Vanity Fair report. The Kennedy family scion is seen clutching the barbecued remains on a big metal spit and pretending to take a big bite out of the ribs. The carcass has 13 pairs of ribs, including a telltale floating rib that suggests it is, in fact, a canine, a veterinarian told the magazine. But Kennedy on Tuesday claimed it was a goat. It's of me at a campfire in Patagonia on the Futaleufú River eating a goat, which is what we eat down there. Okay. Kennedy shared the snap with a friend who was traveling to Asia and suggested that the pal would enjoy a restaurant in Korea that had dogs on the menu, raising more speculation that he ate a dog. I don't know. RFK Jr. said he'd eat virtually anything, not a human being, though. I don't know, man. Oh, wait, hold on. There's more to the article. The recipient, however, thought the image was insensitive for how it made light of animal cruelty. The friend also expressed concern that it appeared to mock Korean culture and put the reputations of Kennedy and his famous family on the line. The photo's metadata dates it to 2010, the same year Kennedy was diagnosed with a dead tapeworm in his brain. He's got a worm in his brain. During his 2012 divorce proceedings, the 70-year-old claimed he may have contracted the parasite during a trip to South Asia. Kennedy's family, however, generally believed that his cognitive issues stemmed from his 14 years as a heroin user, Vanity Fair reported. Blah, 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 blah. It goes into his, but that's weird, right? I mean, do goats have floating ribs? Okay, so apparently it is possible, according to Google, who's always a trusted source. The observation of only one goat with a floating rib, coupled with absence of reports in literature, indicate that this is of rare occurrence in goats. The number of ribs observed in all the other goats did not differ and was similar to what is reported for most goats. According to this, there are 13 pairs of ribs. So maybe it is. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think he ate a dog or do you think he had a goat? I don't know. Does it matter to you? I mean, if I'm hanging out with some indigenous peoples and they try to feed me something and I'm in the jungle and I'm hungry, I mean, it's already cooked. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'll say this. I am a lot more concerned about his choice of advisors and VP pick than I am about whatever that was and what he ate. But that said, there are some very concerning things there with RFK Jr. But that's what we got on the information so far. We're going to keep digging into this. We got a lot coming up. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the national, the Republican National Convention. We're going to be presenting the highlights, and we're also going to do a watch party to actually see Trump give his speech. I think it'll be interesting, and also give an opportunity to watch the VP's speech, or presumptive nominee thereof. I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Drop some comments. Do you guys think RFK is fit to be president? Do you guys think that there was only one shooter? Do you believe that there were more? Now, allegedly, I don't know, this is what I've heard, Facebook is taking down posts that mention more than one shooter. Now, if that's the case, it certainly lends credence to it, doesn't it? Why are you, every time they do this, it's like the Streisand effect. If you guys don't know what the Streisand effect is, look it up. It's entertaining. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. And there's some interesting stuff coming up. I feel it. I feel it in my bones. We have a whole lot of interesting information we're working on. I'm trying to get it processed into legible, interesting format rather than just like this presenting it. But you guys let me know what you think. We'll talk to you again real soon. God bless you. God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States of America. God bless President Trump and everyone injured during that crazy debacle. I'll see you guys again real soon. If you want to support the channel, my Patreon is patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. If you guys would like to see some merch, let me know. We'll come up with something, and then I can pretend to be shocked when not nearly as many people buy my stuff as do Demolition Ranch. I'm just kidding. I'm just being dumb. Have a good night, guys. See you real soon.